welcome to Unpacked Radio. I'm your host, Norris the Pope Johnson. And first and foremost, salute to DC Baddest, who will be out this week because she is underneath the weather. But we will push on without her, but we love her dearly because those who may or may not know, she suffered from stage 4 cancer. So she has a fight of her life on her hands, and sometimes that fight does get a little hard. So we keep her in our prayers. We love her, and we understand when she cannot be here. The quote of the week or the comment of the week come from an anonymous person who don't want to be known, who lives in South Carolina, who's crazy as hell. And this is her comment from last week's show. And these are true statements, and the First Lady could confirm if y'all think I'm exaggerating. Her statement was, heck yes, I will peg the hell out of somebody, and then I will leave them after I'm finished pegging them. So that was her comment from last week's episode. If you would like to find us on YouTube, you can find us at Unpacked Radio on YouTube. You can find us on Unpacked Radio on Instagram. You can find us on Unpacked on Facebook. Feel free to leave a comment because we use those comments to give a little shine to our people who support us. And we got some new people locked in. So feel free to lock us in on YouTube and everywhere else you can find us. Now, speaking of the world of podcasting, I got a good brother here. He got his own podcast. Let me see if I get it right. Chicken Wings and Comedy Thighs.
Comedy Thighs?
Is that it?
No, it's Chicken Wings and Comedy Things.
Oh, I thought I was like, okay. I thought that would be cute. I was like, okay, I see him.
No, Chicken Wings and Comedy Things.
Now, what made you want to get into the world of the crazy journey of podcasting? Because I know it can be kind of ups and downs, and
right.
It's been many days. I was like, man, I'm about to just throw the whole show away. So, what made you want to get into it?
Just, in seeking after 15 years of doing shows and stuff like that, because I've been doing comedy shows for 15 years, since 2006, just a new avenue to attain, not necessarily followers, but creating content that keeps you relevant. You know what I mean? So having, giving comedians another platform, many of which, some of them are obscure or keep to themselves unless they have a show, and then just building content around that, informative yet funny. So I wanted to dive into it as a new avenue, not really new for me, but new at this phase of things. Went to a conference in Atlanta, the Peachtree Comedy Festival, actually, and we had a seminar. It was on podcasting and stuff like that, and at that time, I didn't think it was that important. You know what I mean? I figured, well, I don't really need it. That's more so for the comics to do and stuff like that. But my entire network now, especially on Instagram, is all about content. So a lot of them do videos and stuff like that. But I said, I have to do something different that lets people know who I am, put more of a face to my brand. And so I said, I'm going to develop a podcast.
Now, you say you've been doing comedy for a while. What made you get into comedy?
A desire, I guess, to laugh, you know what I mean? And bring it to other people. So when I first started, it was more of a, being a native Washingtonian, it was more of a go-go thing. I did a couple of shows, had comedian hosts, and it was kind of interesting. It worked out, but I realized it was something still missing. And so the desire to laugh was a little bit more important than just the actual music and the culture and the atmosphere that was already established. I wanted to do something different. And like I said, at that time, 2006, you had a few promoters, but not really as solid and relevant as we have right now in this area. So getting into comedy was a way to, I guess, get an exorcism of sorts. You know what I mean? You just feeling good about yourself. Kind of digging deep. It's a number of different things that people have shared with me over the years in reference to releasing their pain, and people who had been at home for a while, hadn't been out, had a great night out, different reasons that have been along the way. And so I wanted to help people out and, give them an outlet. There's several people that come to my shows monthly, and they feel good about coming out. And that's their date night, whatever they want to call it. They're waiting to exhale. I got different groups of ladies that come out, different married couples, different relationship couples, groups of friends, all that kind of stuff. So that's really why I do it. It's a way of serving and bringing people, an opportunity to laugh up close and in person.
Now, I know we living in some interesting times, so how is it now with the world of comedy? Because I know a lot of people say you really can't feed off the energy because you can't see the smile on the people's face, and if they are laughing, it's kind of
right.
So how is the process now for you? Do you still feel like that same energy, or is it a little bit more tricky?
Oh man, it's
trying to get the people to really enjoy what you're saying.
Well, I myself, I'm not a comic, but knowing talent and how to bring that to people, and every lineup is strategic. So I select certain themes and certain times a year to do certain shows and stuff like that. So being able to get people as far as back out, surprisingly, it has been a little bit of a grind because of the COVID situation, but people are ready to get out. And even in the middle of it, before things were where they are now, we did some things around Labor Day and stuff like that. Had a great turnout. That was an outdoor event. So people are always ready to get out and still kind of enjoy themselves. So it hasn't been as much of a grind as I thought it would be. But again, it's been a little bit 50-50, I'd say, getting people out to back out and feeling comfortable, feeling safe. You know what I mean? So dealing with stuff that we didn't have to worry about before.
Now, what is the process of like actually booking your talent for you?
Well, for me, once I select who it is that I want to put on the show, sometimes I reach out via social media, but I mean, at this stage of the game, I have direct contact to most comics, both local and national. And I'm not saying the top tier; those guys are a little harder to reach. But anybody that's on that next level down, I can pretty much figure out a way to get my hands on them. I just reach out to them. Some are very active on social media, and sometimes you go through other comics if you have to, just depending on who you want and when you want them and how much of a demand they have. So that's pretty much the process of getting them there, and then we work out numbers. So it's always a cost to everything, even in the pandemic.
Yes, it is. Now, do you ever feel bad when you book somebody and they totally eat shit?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. More so for other people, my supporters who come out to enjoy themselves. I've only had that happen once or twice in 15 years, literally. Again, everything is strategic. Every lineup has been strategic. And so when you pick a certain lineup or a certain comic to close out a show or to bring in, it's kind of like in basketball, you got your point guard and your big man. In comedy, and booking comedy, if you have a great host and you have a headliner, that's typically going to bring it home for you. You can have a great show. Everything in between is vital as well. But, you can eat a mayonnaise sandwich too. It don't always have to have meat and cheese.
Yeah, unfortunately, some comics, like I noticed, like they say when they're trying to work on new material and you're expecting the same greatness, you may not get it because they're trying to do something new.
Right.
And they're not completely where they want to be yet.
Yeah. So
sometimes you might end up eating a bad sandwich with nothing on it but lettuce.
But now that's got to be part of the conversation too, especially for those out of towners who are booked, and you paying them. Because we're going to have a conversation about that otherwise. So especially if you have material out there and I know you can do better, it's just one of them things. You can't expect that paycheck if you're not giving the fans what they want.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point because I truly believe you kind of want to kind of dip and dabble into your new stuff and you kind of want to stay in your safety nets and you just got to find that lane where you keep everybody kind of happy.
Well, that's, like I said, book shows – a little different than open mics. Open mics, and that's up to them to work that out in their cities or wherever they go and whatever they do. But when somebody's paying you, you gotta go with what works. And I know that for a fact. Even not being a comedian, you know what I mean? So as a promoter, I have to go with what I know works and who I can trust to deliver, whether they coming from out of town or whether they right here in the area. In the area, I mean, as far south as maybe Hampton or Richmond, all the way up north is Delaware or Jersey, you know what I mean? So this whole area, so getting somebody down that's reliable.
How many areas do you promote in?
Just one right here, right now, but I'm spreading out this year.
What's the goal?
The goal this year is to tackle 2 areas in the south and then working my way north slowly but surely. So we'll see how the year progresses. Doing some things hopefully later on this year when things clear up a little bit more. the South is kind of open, as we already know, but, you know, we'll see how it goes, looking to be in the Carolinas and maybe, you know, the Atlanta area and see what happens down there. It's more of an entrepreneurial market, so people have been open for quite some time and people are doing their own thing, so it makes it easier to spread your product, you know, no matter what it is. So that's the goal for later on this year.
Now, how crazy was the go-go world back in your promotionary days? Because I'm pretty sure you got some stories. So how crazy was it back in those days?
I actually did 2 shows, just two shows with bands. And that's when I realized I needed to get away from it because it wasn't the substance. Like I said, I love go-go. I love the culture. I was born and raised in it. I'm always love it. But it just didn't fit with what I'm doing with comedy. And that's what I try to tell promoters now. A lot of go-go promoters try to come over to comedy, try to understand it. It's a completely different mindset, completely different beast. So in booking bands, there are certain comics who go well with hosting a band or hosting an event like that. But it's not the same as a comedy show, you know. You know, of course, go-go's have a lot of energy. It's high energy. It's standing all night. Comedy shows, that's not what it is. And so people look at it and it's like you sitting down for 2 hours. That's not something a lot of people want to do. They got anti-energy. So having a crowd that is interested in that, first of all, is important. You know what I'm saying? So cater to the older crowd that's kind of leaving the go-go scene. You know what I mean? So they've been going for years, and they're looking for something else to do. So,
yeah, because people say in the world of comedy, it's almost like hypnotizing people to just, they're hanging on to every word you're saying.
Absolutely.
And you got to mentally trick them into wanting to listen. And you can start off with a hostile crowd and end up turning them in your favor just by your words.
Oh, absolutely.
If you don't have a good game plan going in,
right.
You can get eaten alive by the lions.
Yeah, you got that right. I seen it happen. I tell you what's worse than getting heckled is when the crowd says nothing for a comedian, no response at all. So I've seen it happen a few times, and I know comics that get angry. I know some that go back and revamp and, you know, get themselves together, and you see them in the next show, and they're hilarious. It just happens. If you do enough of anything, you're going to hit a bump in the road, you know.
Now, how many opportunities do you normally give a person to actually bomb?
Twice. First time could be a rough night. But if you bomb twice, then that's highly unlikely I can deal with you again, because I can't put my people through that. I can't put my people through that. So,
Now, have you ever had a big namer bomb?
No.
Okay, because I've heard of a few big namers who actually took a nosedive.
Yeah.
All the way crashed out.
Yeah,
AKA Mike Epps. Crashed out. Crashed and burned, unfortunately, and walked off stage right in the convention center. So what would you do if you book somebody, they crash and burn, they cuss the crowd out and walk off stage? What would be your reaction to something like that? Because I heard that happen for Mike Epps, unfortunately. And he's a big name.
Yeah. Well, for me, for starters, I had to apologize to my supporters. And, if it's not the end of the show, then hopefully you can make an adjustment on the fly. I have had a rough crowd before, and some of the people were downright disrespectful. To be in their late 40s and 50s, they were downright disrespectful and unpleasant to deal with. But at the same time, we made adjustments on the fly to move on with the show. It just depends on when it happens. If it causes people to leave, I had a few folks walk out. Some people were okay with the money they spent. It's like, okay, well, I'm gone. Whatever happens, happens. So, but if you have that happen and it's a big name, that's a whole lot to deal with, because then you got to talk behind the scenes about what's going on and why a person potentially got up there. And then it depends on the reason. Could be sobriety, could be they high, just having a bad night for a big name. Typically, 50% of what they're getting ready to do or how they're going to make the crowd move is just based on who they are. They don't know how to open their mouth. And then when they do, you're looking for, some people could say, boo. And everybody, you fall out laughing just because it's a big name comic. Constitution Hall, Verizon Center, whatever it might be. They want you to do, that's all it needs to do. Once you make an appearance, you get a standing ovation, So different shows, different types of comic. But if you have it, you got to apologize to your supporters so they know that you're still present in the moment. You ain't go out the back door on them, take their money, and left them with their comic, just the name that carried them.
And do you find it's hard to book acts? Because I know we got those jinky promoters out there who literally will tell somebody something, well, take your $3,000 and run. Do you find it a little bit hard to kind of deal with people knowing that you got jinky promoters out there will steal everybody dollars?
Right. Well, depends on the comic. And I know that several comics have dealt with that before, and I see them post about it, talk about it. A few comics might consider me that way because I'm going to do business straight up. And if that's not how you used to doing it, then, you can carry your business elsewhere. But an established resume and reputation is just that. One thing for certain, two things for sure is that they know they're going to get paid with me. I make sure I have my budget together before the door. I don't need the door to pay people. So if I cannot pay you, you won't be there. Plain and simple.
I ain't trying to get too much in your business, but to try the process of making sure you have a correct budget for, let's say it's 250 crowd, what do you need to make that happen from the whole process? So making sure you make some money, make sure you pay everybody out, and make sure everybody have a good time. How would you budget that?
You mean for 250 people?
Yeah.
Oh, well, supposing we get back to that at some point soon. Outside of a large venue. Well, it depends on when it is. Depends on when, where. It's a lot of different factors that go into booking your lineup. Whether it's a theme time of year, such as Valentine's or maybe Thanksgiving, around Christmas. I kind of try to work with those time frames, see what happens. So just booking people that will really be good at that. If it's a certain type of crowd I want to target, maybe a church crowd. Or, when most comedy clubs cater to a lot of those folks that's in the church, they still go to regular shows. So just depends on more the time of year and who I want to work with, who I think will be good for rotating and getting a good feel for delivery. You know what I'm saying? So that cost and price just depends on the comic. And what we can work out. So nothing is definite with that. But just being strategic about who it is, where it is, what time of year, I want to focus on.
Okay, have you ever totally bombed out with promoting an event?
Yes.
How did that feel?
Oh, it stinks. It sucks. Sucks royally. But again, I'm a grassroots guy. So everything I do is from scratch, from the bottom of the burn. I'm going to work my way up. So I've never lost. It's either you win or you learn. So I've learned along the way, again, since March of 2006. I've had my share of rough nights, trust and believe me. I've had shows with 10 people, and I've had shows with 200 people. But my mindset is, even if it's 5 to 10 people, they about to get this work because I'm going to deliver a great show for them so that them 10 can go grab 10 more. And then that 10 will grab 10 more. So the next time I see you, it might be 30 or 40 in here, but everybody's talking about it, and they know your brand. They know you're worthy. They know people can get paid. The comics know people can, we're going to get paid. Okay, this brother's a good guy. He going to do what he got to do. So, as a promoter, you have to really stink and not know people and not care. It's a lot of guys out here that's are very fraudulent and like you say, janky. But it's also some guys that have posed as great promoters. And they've gotten away with, and they're still around. I ain't gonna say names and stuff like that, but, yeah, just let that be.
Now my next question is to strive, I guess, in detail your worst promotionary night.
My worst night, wow.
Yeah. Everything, like, you had a Murphy Law day where everything could go wrong,
did
go wrong.
Right. Wow. Man, wait a minute. I got to think. I guess just to jump on it, probably my first night, one of my very first shows, had the band booked and tried to combine the comedy with it. And when people don't come in, it was a very minimal crowd. I think I had about 20 people this night, 15, 20 people. And that might be being generous, because I can't really remember. But when you don't make the money to pay the bills, that's when like I said again, it wasn't a loss. I just learned. I learned a big lesson. And fortunately, at the time, the brother that worked with me, may he rest in peace, he understood what it was. They were able to move on with the loss, and that's when I realized I couldn't use bands anymore. Now I've had, as I've, again, moved throughout my travels and promotion and production of shows, I've had rough nights. And, it was a time that my daughter got hurt playing basketball. And I was doing a show. I had spent all this money at a venue downtown. And I literally probably had, I don't even know how many people were there, because by the time I got there, the show was literally over. Between the basketball gym, I never had a chance to change my clothes. My daughter was hurt. She was in an ambulance. So by the time I left Children's Hospital, I'm going straight downtown, trying to get there and park and everything. I ended up, that night, I think it was maybe $200 at the door, something like that. Nothing worked well. It was just one of them real, like you say, if whatever Murphy's Law is, what you just said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a rough one there, probably those 2 nights.
What lessons would you like to hand out to the next person come behind you thinking about getting into the crazy world of trying to promote events?
Well, events,
no matter what it is, you got to sell people.
You have to know your target audience. You got to know what you want to do, how you want to do it, and you got to know who you're catering to. You know what I'm saying? Man, it's I would have to define it and keep it to what I know, because it's very little information. I see a lot of so-called big time promoters. They want to step over into comedy. They've done go-go events and think they have a big following. It's a completely different market, completely different appeal. So know your audience is probably the number one thing. Know your audience. Figure out who that is. They're not the same people. People that love go-go crowd don't love rap music like that. They might listen to it, but to attend a concert, even at a smaller venue, is different. It's different. And I don't think we're ever going back to anything normal, probably for several years ahead of us now, because of what we're dealing with. So standing room is going to be difficult, even though we've seen some events go down. All it takes is one incident to shake up things that's uncontrollable like that. So, be able to be flexible, know your audience, who you want to cater to, how you want to deal with it, how you want to present what it is that you're trying to get to the people. So that's a start.
Okay. Now let's get to your lovely podcast.
Okay.
I know that's a major, major shift. How's the support been going?
Support is building massively. And shouts out to everybody who follows Chicken Wings and Comedy things, Facebook and Instagram, as well as Wild Radio. The reception has been awesome. So I have no complaints at all there. None whatsoever. It's been real good.
And do you feel like there's a good space for you? Do you feel like sometimes it's just shaky, or you just like, I know this is my niche?
I definitely know it's my niche. And part of what makes me feel that way, shouts out to my co-hosts. My co-hosts, King Mark and Lene Monet. They help make that transition, and when we work together well. Awesome chemistry. I didn't know what that was going to be like at first, but I knew it could work. You know what I'm saying? It was just a matter of time to see if it would. And right out the gate, episode 1, the pilot, was awesome. We were just upset that it wasn't a real episode. You know what I'm saying? And so they helped make it work.
How did you run across them?
Well, King Mark is my cousin, and Lene, awesome young lady, doing her thing. You might have seen her on the Popeyes commercial recently, the fish sandwich. When I say recently, I mean within the last couple of days, because it's running right now. So I saw her videos on Instagram, and she's incredibly talented. When I say star in the making, it's just that if in the next 5 years she ain't filming a movie for somebody, I'd be shocked. So it's a blessing to have them both contribute the energy that they contribute and how we work so well together. It works.
Now, how was you able to sell them on a dream? Because pretty much in this game, there's no money in it.
Right.
you pretty much like, hey, you hope something happened
Right.
if we build up to a point. So how were you able to sell them both the dream? Your cousin, that was probably easier. So how was you able to sell the young lady?
Just in participating in something different. That's all, because it was different for us all three. Again, I've done radio projects and seen studios and been a part of mild production years and years ago. But this was new. And I've seen it done, been a part of podcasts, doing interviews like I am now, but conducting my own and doing the production behind the scenes and preparation, research, all of that. It's a little different. So, I said, let's go full head into this thing. Let's try to see if we can make something great happen. But the only way we're going to know is if we go 110%. And it's been just that. It's been just that. And the energy, if you listen to any episode, is just that. So, it's built around having great guests, but the concept of wings, literally, we got wings every week. We got a great sponsor for that. Just building, just the camaraderie is built. It explodes. That's like a happy place. So on Thursdays when we go live and when you hear the podcast, you hear the playback, you can hear it and you see it, which is why we put out little clips to kind of give people a little taste of the flavor.
Yeah, you gotta give them a little something. Who's your sponsor? Go ahead and give them a shout out.
Oh, my sponsor, Mr. White's Wings, Mr. Terry White Jr. on Facebook and on Instagram, The Wingologist. So he gives us great wings. It sets the tone every week when I walk in the door. This man got about 20 different flavors of chicken wings. It's not a game, and they are delicious. You know what I'm saying? So we got our drinks, we got our wings. Last night we had honey bourbon. And if you ain't never had nothing like that, it's an experience. So that's what sets the tone right. It's almost like we can't even start the show if we don't got our 20-piece. You know what I'm saying? And he hooks us up. He hooks us up lovely.
Okay. How did that process work out?
Just, again, grassroots. I went right to him. I hit him on the inbox, got the phone number. We started talking. I ran across him at a flea market right over in Southeast, and he was smoking some chicken wings out there. He had the big smoker and everything. So when I realized who he was, and I'm seeing, okay, this brother, I reached out to him. He didn't have a storefront. He was like, I don't have one right now. I'm like, okay, well, I got an idea. I want to talk to you about something. He was open-minded, open-hearted. It set sail, and he been a real good guy, real good black business to support, and nobody's been disappointed. Air fry, smoke, bake, deep fry, whatever you want, he got it. And he's sampling and giving us a little bit of all that love. So, I felt the need to have, it's not only something catchy, but something that people can see. The more tangible it is, people can relate to it. Like we say, people love wings at the strip club, the comedy club, or the funeral. At the replay, chickens everywhere.
Or that long bus trip down there, wherever you're going to.
There you go.
That fried chicken and
you go.
Keep it moving. Now, my next question is, how does it feel to have all the support? Because you said the most important thing is, like, I don't know you personally. I met you on IG.
Right.
We networked. So why do you think, it's possible to get this support? And how do you, keep the support going?
You said why?
Yeah, why do you think it's possible for people to connect? Because some people say they're supposed to be impossible. I'm supposed to hate on you because you got your own podcast. You supposed to hate on me because I got my own podcast. And we supposed to both have the knives out, ready to stab each other in the back. So why do you think it's important to support each other in our space of podcasting, whether or not it's comedy, whatever it may be?
Right.
Why do you think that's important?
Because, for me, everything starts with a spiritual belief. If it's for me, it's gonna be for me. I don't gotta hate on you, bro. You doing what you do. You got your lane, I got mine. Why can't we support each other? We need to look at that more frequently. And it's no need to hate. Like I said, what's for me is for me. What's for you is for you. It has your name on it. Mine has my name on it. So when I got a feeling in my heart that burn to say, you know what, you need to do a podcast. Okay? Do it. Anybody that's not about support, then stay away from me. And, I pray to keep that away. So supporting everybody else who's doing the same thing, it's just like anything else. It's a bunch of car salesmen out here. It's a bunch of barber shops. It's a bunch of barbers. It's a bunch of this. It's a bunch of that. You ain't got to hate on somebody to get your blessings and rewards. In fact, you block them when you run around running your mouth, talking bad on people who haven't done anything to you. So it's important that we focus on putting that same energy into what you have to do for you. People spend a lot of energy hating, and it never works out. Never works out, despite what they may, really. And honestly, a hater is just it's just an individual who wants to be where you are and wants to do what you're doing, but they don't have the courage to ask you how you did it. And I make it easy. Anybody can come to me and ask questions as long as you ain't trying to use me. And I pick that up early, I'm good. Because again, what's for me is for me. I'm not worried about how far you take it. If you take the little bit of knowledge I give you and you blow up with it and you go 100 yards beyond me, good for you. It was meant for you to do that, and I was a stepping stone. That's all it's about. So once we all get there, and I was just having this conversation with my business partner this afternoon, it's a lot of things that have done a number on us as a people. And that hatred, beating each other down, wearing each other out, trying to beat each other, sneak and get over on each other, it's not necessary. We just got to begin to see that. We got to begin to work together because we're so much stronger and so much better.
Shout out to one of my crazy coworkers, Mr. Proctor. He thinks that we're cursed, and sometimes I believe him.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I see some of the activities that goes on in our own community.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, we are trapped in some type of cycle that we seem not to want to escape from.
But it's not undoable. It's not undoable. People think you sit back and if you stop, I've talked to so many people, and part of that cycle is, again, people who are afraid of grassroots work or getting out and actually doing the work. You know what I'm saying? They think that somebody's supposed to have something prepared for them all the time, and somebody going to set the stage for you. Sometimes that's not going to happen. And I go back and forth with people about creating your own lane and being able to create your own opportunities. It's there. I promise you, it goes better once you start on your own. Whatever resources you have, once you start, it becomes easier. But people are afraid of that, and instead of putting that energy into their own projects, they hate on the people that do take the next step. Or you think you better than me, or who you think you are. No, I'm just working hard. I don't think I'm nobody but who God made me to be. So I'm walking in that, and until you do, then you can stay right there, with the negativity, and I'll see you next time around.
What I think it is, and maybe that's a case of fear.
Absolutely.
Fear of the unknown and fear of who you may or may not be. Like one of my favorite meme / quote is, the game is free, the hustle is sold separate.
Absolutely.
That means, hey, I get the game of life is free.
Right.
You can be in this game and it all comes free. But the hustle and the integrity to be out here and have 1,001 doors shutting your face, to put yourself out there for the public and them to judge you on every word you say, it's terrifying to people. And I think we are letting the fear, the total fear of someone judging you for your work, is stopping you from doing it. Yeah. Like one of my buddies I work with, same coworker, Proctor, always tell me I should get in the lane of telling single women what they should do and get into Mr. Kevin Samuel's space and the Red Pill Talk space. And I'm just like, myself personally, I have my lane. I would rather have conversations like this conversation we're currently having are more important to me than telling single women who they should and shouldn't date and what type of man they should and should not be looking forward to.
Exactly.
Now, Kevin Samuels has made a great space there, and 1,000 other people are making that same space, but nobody's having these type of conversations about the real issues.
That's exactly, and that's great to talk, but that's all it is hot air and fluff. And I go back and forth from time to time on YouTube, his videos, stuff like that. It's a sad place that we're in, where you got a ton of black men listening to this guy, quite frankly, hate on black women. He ain't really helping nobody. It might start the conversation for some, but I'm not gonna get into that because I voiced my opinions on my show, and I said it quite frankly, using choice words. But again, these guys are gonna get exposed. It's a matter of time. You see it happen to Derek Jackson.
One down.
One down.
I'm about to have a whole petty party on here, bro. I'm about to have a whole petty party.
I tell, like I say, if I can say something to these ladies that can hear, both in this area and otherwise, get you some real help. Go get, use your EAP. A lot of these government, gainfully employed women, use your employee assistance program to do some research and find you a good therapist, sis. Because dealing with these clowns, that's the blind leading the blind. You can say what you want, truth or not. Anybody can study and sit back and watch and repeat and regurgitate, but you don't know them. So how can you say what the truth is, or like you say, the root cause? Where is it coming from? They can't do it. They can't do it. And so being a product of seeking my own therapy and helping others to do it, and a family that had to do it as needed, I'm not going to stand by and tolerate people who are wannabe therapists, because you can talk the talk. You can sit in your car and tell people what's best for them. Are you crazy? You know what I'm saying? Anybody that sit up and talk in third person, come on, man.
Hey, man.
And people listen to this stuff.
I'm going to have a petty party later. Jeez. But I think what the problem is, we are so lost and we are struggling for guidance that we reach out to anybody we may see.
Everybody.
And unfortunately, I try to live the life of truth.
Right.
Because that's the best way to live.
Yep.
So, because one of these days, all my sins may come back on me.
Absolutely.
10 years, 20 years down the road.
Yep, we all.
And I think I forgot about them. And we are now in their space. They started off where we started off at, grassroots.
Right.
And they made it to a place where they're now worth $4 million a year, and someone just may have thrown away his $4 million because he couldn't control his urges or whatever. So you threw away your bag for other women. That's a horrifying mistake or bad judgment on his behalf.
Yeah.
I'm going to say some other choice words about that dude later, because I couldn't stand him from the first place.
I feel you.
But at the end of the day, I just think we just need to live with truth and love, and then total understanding. If you're going to give people guidance, give them the correct guys. Like, hey, I made these mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
These are why I'm accountable to my bad choices.
Right.
And maybe you want to avoid my bad choices.
And be honest about, first of all, giving advice is a if don't nobody ask you, and honestly, them folks that's calling in, they ain't asking. They might be looking, but they're not asking you because they don't know you. And if anybody else offered that same advice on the street, I'm same status, I would bet any amount of money that they're not gonna listen. The types of things that this man says to women, ain't no sister that's about her business gonna listen to that. You know what I'm saying? But you listen because you think he's somebody, you think he's something, and he ain't got his own self together. He ain't got his own personal life together. So why are you listening to that? You know what I mean? If a brother walk up to you on the street with a suit on, talking about, that's the same concept. He ain't never even seen you, but he gonna look at you. Okay, where you work? What you do? How much money do you have? I'm asking you basic questions that a 5-year-old could ask and come to a conclusion to say, oh, well, you need this and you need that. The way that man, a buddy of mine sent me a clip talking about, he described the woman. How tall are you? How much do you weigh? And this, that, and the other. Well, no man wants that. Yeah, that's some men. But there are full-figure sisters out here that's getting it, and there's brothers that love it. So for a bunch of, I'ma just, you know what?
Hey, man, I do something called man law, so you're more than welcome to join there. You're more than welcome to join in. I haven't had a man law in quite some time. So thank you, Derek Jackson, for being a very interesting human being. I never liked you in the first place. Yeah. I didn't trust you in the first place, and I had my misgivings.
These people don't know, and some people feel like the truth wouldn't come out in therapy, but that's the best place for it. And if you go in there honest with the right mindset, the way you do sitting at your computer or on the phone telling somebody your business, take that same mindset and talk to somebody who can really help you make the adjustments and figure out where you're going with the rest of your life. Not somebody who's ridiculing and beating you over the head about your past and hoping that, so-called change is on the horizon because of something that they said. You ain't God. No, man, these dudes are clowns.
Now, do you feel the pressure knowing that, I mean, it seems like I can tell from your spirit, you're on your way to your success and you do a great job networking with people.
Appreciate
so
you.
do you feel the pressure of knowing that you're going to be on that level and you have to maintain that level? Do you feel that type of pressure coming upon you?
You mean to what? As far as
I guess the pressure of being one day famous. One day everybody may know your name. One day you're not going to be able to walk down the street without personal security. Do you feel that pressure? Then the interesting things happen once you get that type of pressure.
If that's for me, then it won't be any pressure. If that's for me. You know what I'm saying? If that's for me. I started looking, I remember, like if we think back to American Idol, when all that stuff was coming on, and before that got uber popular, people started trying to figure out, well, I don't have to win to be super famous and to make my money and to follow my dream. So I'm of that mindset. Again, I'm a stay grassroots mentality. I don't have to be famous to be successful. I'm already a success. You know what I'm saying? I'm already a success. And to help people, I certainly don't have to be what the world tells you success is. You know, I'd like to think that the people most important to me view me as a success. That's all that matters to me. All of that, you know, just being able to go places and this, that, and the other. No, if that's the case and you got to sacrifice that, no, I'll pass. You know, and if it means, back to your last point, if I have to tear people down to build myself up and to get money and, you know, to get the bag, I'll pass. Sometimes you sell your soul in the process, and what you got coming to you is worse than what you dished out. So, a whole lot to think about.
Okay. Now, my final question is, I mean, why did you enter therapy? I mean, I noticed you said that a few times. So why did you feel like that it was necessary?
Well, it was just, it was just an adjustment period, trying to figure out my next directive in life. You know, you feel certain ways, you feel certain things, and I think God has blessed me with the wherewithal to address those issues and to be truthful and, in the forefront with my own issues before I address anybody else's. You know what I'm saying? I don't run from that. So, in doing that, I didn't mind sitting down and talking about it. And I went to 8 sessions and realized actually I went to it was like a counseling seminar as well, where there were other people. And in that session, it was 3 days. This was the second time around. Some things I'd already addressed. But it felt good. It felt good again. When you release that stress and you sometimes cry about things, you get a new perspective. You know what I mean? Just trying to understand where you come from, where you're going, and how you want to get there. It gets all clear once you start talking about it. And sometimes it's painful, but it's healthy either way, and it'll work itself out. Sometimes it can be really bitter and really painful if you buried it. So it's important to do that. I think that the stress and the trauma takes us down various paths. We all know that mental health is important. I hope so anyway. And, we know that DC native Taraji Henson is on her mission to address that and push us towards that as a culture, using her fame and celebrity to do that. So, again, to that point, if that's for me and I can use it for that type of good and that means, then I'll accept it. But if it means I have to tear people down and can't help, then that's pointless. You know what I'm saying? So, but that's important. That's why I went to therapy, to address some issues that I had and needed to work out so you can move forward free. Get the gorilla off your back, and so you can feel good about yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I always tell people, I mean, I lived a crazy life of pain,
right? And
I think God has His chosen people that you have to live through that pain so you can deliver your story to someone else down the road. Because you never know what your story may help someone else and motivate them.
That's right.
And you can probably sit down with anybody in any situation and totally have a total understanding of where they're coming from. And even though we live in a very interesting world where there's a lot of things going on, I was like, wow, this is crazy. But at least I can comprehend where you're coming from. Right. And we may not agree, but we can at least disagree and move forward.
Yeah, in peace. Agree to disagree. Yeah.
Now we got a few minutes left.
Okay.
And I don't know about you, but I'm about to have a whole petty party for my last few minutes. I'm about to have a petty party. For those who haven't seen it in a while, because for a while I backed away from it because it was no serious issues I really needed to address that required a man law or required accountability. Mm-hmm. That's my favorite word, accountability.
Yeah.
But there's one individual out there who I think need to be held accountable. And I ain't going to stay on too long because everybody else gave their personal opinion. But like my man said, for those ladies out there who listen to this man, I will hope that you hold him accountable and stop spending your money on this foolishness. And maybe instead of listening to some dude who's sitting in his car just because he's good looking or just because he's well spoken about what your man requirement should be,
right.
Maybe you need to go find some inner peace.
Absolutely.
And then go out there to the dating world. But do not listen to some dude, I don't care if it's myself or anyone else in this world, who just because I got a little bit of flash and you think you can trust me, but you're not holding me accountable because you're looking at an image and not at the man. And you're walking away from the Lord because you're holding this person as a God instead of as a human being. So that is my advice for this young brother. I hope he realizes his horrifying decision and find some accountability one of these days. Because right now, he's not being accountable for his horrifying decision. He's still kind of playing games, talking in the third person, ducking the issue, and pretending it like it wasn't fucking him. But I'm not falling for the Shaggy, bro. Yeah. I'm letting you know right now, it was you.
Yeah.
It was you. Yeah. One buff dude to another buff dude. It was you. Now, what's your final statements? Do you have anybody you would like to hold accountable? I mean, final words of advice? Because we got a little time, so we can end it on a positive note.
I always say, when I asked a friend the other day this question, for those sisters in search of a man or whatever, you in search of whatever it is and whatever you feel you need. I asked her, I said, if God gave you everything you asked for, and I actually asked this last night, and shouts out to comedian Stiletto, she made this hilarious. I said, if God gave you everything you wanted right now, would you be ready to receive it? Now, when I asked the young lady the question, she's like, no, not really, because I got issues. I got this, I got that. So we know what we want, but are we ready to receive it is the question. And we don't ask ourselves whether we're ready to receive it. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be ready to receive it so that you don't abuse it, so that you don't waste it, and so that you don't miss it. Don't abuse it, don't waste it, don't miss it. And if you're not ready, it's going to do one of those three things. You know what I'm saying? So be ready for what you ask God for. And some people aren't even asking. Some people don't even have a concept of God. And I always say about, when it comes to prayer, prayer is a conversation. I don't care what we hear in church or religious organizations, things of that nature. That's a conversation with God. Even if it's as simple as, man, God, look here, Slim. I need you. I don't know what's going on, but help me figure this out. This in your hands. I can't even do it no more. And you know what I'm saying? In the name of your son, amen. That's a wrap, man. People got to take that with that grain of salt and use it that way. And that's just to simplify it. But that's really what it's about. We got to talk to God about things. We got to take, because we have clearly, we've gone down the wrong road. Just humanity. I don't care what we look like, where we live. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know what we're doing. And this movement of do me, do you, all that's the whole damn problem. That we so busy doing us that we can't do nothing about what God got lined up. You know what I'm saying? And we miss our blessings. So, I look to have a life of service as much as possible. I'd like to tell anybody that's listening, and if you catch this, tomorrow, April 3rd, Blue Sky as well as Jackie L Entertainment. We're going to be out in the Silver Spring area. Give me a call at 301-613-8793. We have 300 book bags, or 200 now. This organization coming to get about 100. But we're looking to give school supplies and COVID supplies to kids and families in need. So call me at 301-613-8793. or find me on any platform, social media, Jackie L Entertainment on IG, Facebook, Nevin R. Malign, Nevin Raheem Malign, or Jackie L Entertainment. Leave me a message. So that's the kind of stuff we try to do. We like to have fun, but at the same time, it's always going to have an important, informative element to it. So trust and believe, tomorrow's event is hosted by a good friend of mine, Tony Spoon, comedian Tony Spoon, and DJ Zoe. So we're going to be out there for 3 hours at the location. I'm not giving the location out because it is a private event. But those who are calling to come get the help that they need, they can get it. So if they reach out to me, definitely. So live a life of service as best you can. And service can be any number. It looks many different ways. So we can help somebody with their bags. You can hold the door for somebody. You can say a kind word and let it grow from there. It's not hard. It's really not hard to serve people. And if you're always looking to serve others, then God finds it easy, much easier to serve you. So that's really my take on life, man. So
those are some great words. And I got to say in closing, for all people, accountability, responsibility can and will save your life. Stop listening to people just because they're on air and they may present to you something that's not real. And that's the real bottom line of these issues that's going on with the world of social media and social podcasts. And it's fun, it's exciting, but I don't care where the journey take me. I want to be as honest as possible and let you know whatever I'm telling you is real. And stop looking at the illusion and hold people accountable for their words.
Absolutely.
All right, let me wrap this thing up, and we will see you next time on Unpacked Radio. Have a great day. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us everywhere you can follow us. And please make those comments because we do use them and we miss our letters. So please, please, please send us a letter because we love responding to them, and we haven't had one in a while. And the last one we had was very interesting. We'll see you next time on Unpacked Radio. Salute.